Welcome to Good Morning Football. We are live in New York City. My name is Kay Adams, Nate Burleson, Peter Schrager, Kyle Brent. We are all here, and it's time for the
It's time to leave block out.
Do it. It's Whiteboard Wednesday. Get out the whiteboards. We've got some topics, some questions, and we've got Thursday Night Football tomorrow on NFL Network. It's the Bucs and the Panthers, and you can watch it live on NFL Network. Kickoff is at 8:20, but do not change the channel all day. We'll have all of the headlines. So, most important player or coach in the Bucs-Panthers game is who?
Ooh.
Whiteboard style. You guys can play along at home.
Hey, let's go. So many important players in that game. Okay? How can we choose just one? All right, come on. Go ahead, Nate.
Okay, I'll jump right in. I'm going with Mike Evans. Just for the simple fact that Jameis is going to have to step up big. And there's no better way to kind of knock the dust off, get out of a slump, than to go to your number one wide receiver. Listen, I'm all for treating it like a video game. Just keep throwing back to him. Throw it to Mike Evans 20 times in this game. I guarantee, Jameis, you'll get out that little funk.
New coaching staff, everyone in his ear. We got new whispers. I guess Bruce Arians needs to whisper louder. Something needs to get going here. If there's one person in the room, Bucs offensive coordinator Byron Leftwich has been through this, all right? He was Jameis Winston, where he was a top 10 pick and then went up and down. He was replaced by David Garrard. He had to get his job back. Like, this is the human element to it. To me, Byron Leftwich, who has been in Jameis's ear, not Bruce Arians, needs to be the guy to lift him off the mat and say, hey, come on now, let's salvage something here. I think it's as much mental as it is physical. And for Byron Leftwich, he's going to be the guy that everyone's looking at in Tampa to get the best out of Jameis this week.
I think most of the time a revenge game storyline is a little trumped up, and it's most of the time players understand it's a job and you get traded and everything. But sometimes there's some really good ones, and I like this one a lot. I like Gerald McCoy against his old team. You know, we talked about it earlier a little bit. When the Bruce Arians regime came in, Gerald was not happy in how he was treated. He said, only coach you heard from was Arians. You mean to tell me you can't just pick up the phone and say, hey, we're here, we want to introduce myself? Nobody called me, not once. Silence speaks volumes. Something to prove there from a very, very animated guy who now gets to go against his old team. I'm going to be watching GMAC.
Love that. At GMFB, with your answers, moving on to Whiteboard Wednesday, we saw some amazing and really some surprising performances in Week 1. Who expected Sammy Watkins to go off like that? Nobody, well, except for Peter.
No, I didn't think that, Kay.
Who do you think? I mean, 198 yards. Come on. Who do you think will be the breakout player a la Sammy Watkins in Week 2?
Okay, it's easy to go with a younger player or a rookie. It's hard to find a veteran who wasn't used in Week 1. How about Adrian Peterson going up against the Cowboys? We know Darius Geis is not going to be in the lineup. Adrian Peterson was apparently a healthy scratch Week 1 against the Eagles. He handled it like a pro, but afterwards there was a lot of questions, and Jay Gruden was like, well, we felt we needed some more strength on the depth chart elsewhere. Like, crazy response. This is one of the greatest running backs to ever play the game. He's also one of the most prideful running backs to ever play the game. They go up against the Cowboys. He is going to be carrying the rock because Geis is out. I could see him going for $120 and saying, you know what? Never make me a healthy scratch. I shall never be inactive again. This is the dude. I think Adrian Peterson, big bounce back, breakout day.
Okay.
1,000 yards last year.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm going with a guy who had a pretty good game, but I feel like he's just getting started.
Interesting.
I'm going with Josh Gordon. I feel like Josh is just scratching the surface. You got to imagine he's been out of football. He's been training on his own. And that last touchdown that he had in this previous weekend was fantastic. He got hit, kept his balance, and then got in the end zone. And I think he's going to become the number one target. He's going to be the Tom Brady, what Randy Moss was when he had that prolific season. So I'm going with Josh Gordon.
Bills Giants in the running back position. You can look at Saquon, of course. He is a living deity. But I'm looking at this guy. Do you know what this is? Motor is Devin Singletary. That is his nickname,
cute.
the Bills running back. It's a great handle that goes back to college. I do a thing now. I go on One Bills Live on Tuesdays, and I talk to John Murphy and Steve Tasker. It's just Western New York Bills enthusiasm.
I love that.
They are loving this dude. The 26 jerseys are selling. The rookie from FAU, 5'7", plays with Frank Gore, had a great game against the Jets with very limited carries. Devin Singletary is the kind of story you can root for. He's Motor. I'm in on him.
Love that at GMFB. I mean, Motor, why didn't I know that that was his name? He's like one of my favorite guys.
Motor.
It's his nickname.
Isn't that cool?
Is that his Twitter handle? I need to find that out.
It might be.
It is.
Okay,
Is
good.
it really?
Exactly. Got to follow.
Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson, incredible starts to the season. Perfect passer ratings in each of their games to debut 2019. The player who needs to put on a perfect performance in Week 2, and that's no easy task, is who?
Okay.
I'm going to start with Peter Schroeder.
Wilson's already writing here. What's he got?
All right.
What is this?
I'm going with Baker, but I'm going to change his last name to Baker Prayfield because all of a sudden, you guys are the prey, bro. You did a lot of talking this offseason, you did a lot of photo shoots. I'm seeing a lot of commercials of you right now, but now you guys are the prey. I could call you Baker Sayfield because you have a lot to say. I could call you Baker Mayfield because that's your name, but I'd rather call you Baker Prayfield because now you got a huge target on your back. But go out and be perfect, man. You want to quiet everybody? You want to quiet everybody from talking about how much you're talking about? Go ahead and play ball.
Okay. I'm going to put a coach, and we didn't talk much about this game because it was last Thursday night, but Matt Nagy, we got to coach him up here. Not only do we have a big setback in week 1, you don't want to go against your former defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio, who also has a ton to prove. Everything Matt Nagy is facing about why didn't David Montgomery get the ball? Why didn't you run more? Vic Fangio is facing about where was Chubb? Where is Vaughn? This game is in Denver. Matt Nagy, as usual, handles it with grace, and he's self-deprecating. There was a terrible call in which they handed the ball to Cordero Patterson right up the middle and got stuffed. And Nagy said, look, Walter Payton couldn't have got a first down on that play. It's an actual quote. He put it all on himself, and you can have one. It's fine. You lost to the Packers last year, too. You can't have two. Nagy needs to have a great game plan, a great night.
Can I double down on this? I think Nagy, all eyes are on. The amount of people jumping off the Trubisky bandwagon, I couldn't count on Friday morning, and it carried through the weekend to the point where people are saying, can the Bears even win with this guy? It was one of the worst performances from an offense that you could ever imagine after a whole offseason of hype. They completely laid an egg in this one, and all eyes are on Trubisky. Now you go on the road against a defensive coordinator who knows you, or a coach who knew you as a defensive coordinator probably as well as anyone in the league. Fangio knows all the secrets. He knows where the bodies are buried with this guy. I got to see Trubisky play a perfect game, and after that first Thursday night, I'm not even sure what that means because Trubisky was really limited in what they let him even do.
Trinks, do you believe that week 1's a liar like Kyle does?
I don't. I feel like you can learn a lot from week 1. Last year, there were some obvious outliers with the Saints losing to the Buccaneers. They got things straight. But when you look at the way offenses came out, you know some teams are ready to just come out and simmer. Others came out slow out of the gates. The Bears and the Packers were really disappointing considering all the hype that both those offenses got.
That's Whiteboard Wednesday. Up next, after shutting down the Browns in week 1 and said goodbye to week 1, and we know that it's already a nominee for Game of the Year. Saints, last-second field goal win over the Texans. Now the Saints are looking ahead to their week 2 matchup, and so are we, as they travel and take on the defending NFC champions, the LA Rams. With more, here's Omar Ruiz.
Good morning, Kay. After everything the Saints have been through the last couple seasons, they've built a mental toughness that was certainly on display Monday night in their win over the Texans. Sean Payton told me after the game he knew week 1 mistakes were going to happen, but he was proud of his team for how hard they played and how they recaptured some of that momentum lost when Houston built double-digit leads twice, and of course when the Saints made that comeback in the final minute. New Orleans also had to overcome another controversial call by the referees, an admitted mistake by allowing 15 extra seconds to run off the clock, which the Saints felt put them in a much difficult position to kick a field goal, which Will Lutz eventually missed. When I asked Alvin Kamara after the game how he would describe the Saints' mental toughness, he said it's amazing, and they'll have to continue to rely on that mental toughness in this gauntlet, as Drew Brees described. They now go to L.A. to face the Rams in the NFC Championship game rematch. Then they head up to Seattle before returning home to face the Cowboys. 4 games to start the season against 4 playoff teams from last year. Let's send it back to you now, Kay.
It could take that spot for best game of the week of the season so far. Thanks so much, Omar. The NFC is so hot right now. Massive showdowns in week 2. Saints, Rams, Bucks, Panthers on Thursday Night Football on NFL Network. Redskins, Cowboys, Vikings, Packers, Strags, Eagles, Falcons. Which game and which question do you want answered?
It's a loaded NFC schedule in week 2, and that's how we want it early to get it going. And I look at that game that Omar Ruiz is just talking about, and I look at the 2 coaches. I kind of go through the league right now, and I'm trying to think of the great rivalries with coaches. Andy Reid and Belichick. Belichick is kind of lopsided, right?
Sure.
Belichick and Tomlin. Belichick's got the advantage. Sean Payton and Sean McVay are not going anywhere. They're in Los Angeles and New Orleans for the next few years at the very least, and I can't wait to see the next chapter because the first 3 have been awesome. 3 great games. Let's go through them really quickly because it starts in 2017 when the 2 go at it.
Remind me of
the upstart Rams have a home game against the Saints. They win. It's McVay getting the best of Peyton 26-20. Okay? Last year, regular season in the Superdome, you remember this one? Marcus Peters versus Michael Thomas in the big spot. Drew Brees finds Michael Thomas, burns him, says, I liked the matchup. Sean Payton having a good time, finds his guy. They go out to the big early lead. They almost lose. They come all the way back and blow out the Rams when it matters most in the stretch.
Peters had a remark about gumbo at the end of the game.
Absolutely.
Sean Payton get that gumbo ready. He was a little blue. I liked it.
And then there was the NFC Championship game. How quickly we forget what a game of the year really looks like. Have your Saints-Texans. Give me this one.
Here it comes.
This was the pick or the touchdown to Higbee. That really was a big one, but we know that the call everyone wants to see was the Nickel Roby-Coleman play. But don't let it be lost that Jared Goff outplayed Drew Brees in his building in the second half and overtime in that game. McVay's up 2-1 right now. Okay. McVay has the edge. Don't think that Sean Payton has been brewing and has something mixing and has something ready for this one. I cannot wait for Sunday. It is part 4 of Brees and Payton versus McVay and Goff. And trust me, both coaches want this badly.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. I know what is going to be a good game, and that's the Vikings and the Packers. You have interdivision rivalry, both teams undefeated, and they're really different squads at this point in their careers when you look at Kirk Cousins versus Aaron Rodgers. Now, you have the Minnesota Vikings in that new, reinvigorated running attack, and Aaron Rodgers is one of the best passers in the business. So it's how can you outrun a prolific passer? And if you look at the division as like a kitchen, the chef that's been running the kitchen for so long is Aaron. And that's his kitchen. He heats up the meals. He delivers what he wants. That's how he runs his house. But there's a new cook in town, and that's Dalvin Cook. So can Cook outcook the chef? You know, when you think about Aaron Rodgers, the only way to really beat him is not to hit him. It's not to sit back and play zone. It's to keep his butt on the sideline. And if Dalvin Cook can continue to run like he did last week, Aaron Rodgers is going to be staring from the sideline with the blank face because they will be controlling the clock on the other side of the ball.
So can they keep Rodgers sidelined?
Can they keep him? Can Cook keep cooking? Because the way he looked in week 1 was fantastic.
The Packers' offense did not look good.
No, it was terrible. They scored
terrible
2 points and they
performance,
won.
so I don't know what Aaron we're getting.
We got to get Vikings-Browns for Nate so we can have Cook and Kitchens. Like, Nate, you're going to be on fire. My question is, are the Cowboys the best team in the NFC? Now, there's really good ones. Saints, Rams, Eagles. But we have Cowboys, Redskins. Were any of you guys good at science? Anybody at all? All right. You got to help us out. So as far as I understand, an experiment, you have the variable and you have the control. In this situation, Washington is the control. All right?
Yeah.
Use a little control in Washington. But so the Philly plays Washington week 1.
Yeah.
They have a slow start. They light them up. What does Dallas do against Washington now? It's the direct comparison, because if you're in the trenches with me, guys, for October 20th, which is the midseason Super Bowl, Eagles, Cowboys, let's start comparing these two now. We saw the Eagles. Deshaun went crazy, started slow. What do the Cowboys do to him? Because my second question is, what is the Cowboys' weakness? Is it maybe their secondary? Other than that, these guys, this is a Jerry World seems turnkey right now. Bottom. So I want to see what the variable does against the control. English major, Summoner's Tale. I love it.
Summoner's Tale.
Speaking of Cowboys, Will's got an update in Culver City. He's out in the newsroom as always. Hi, Will.
Absolutely. What's going on there, Kay and guys? And you mentioned Dallas and Prescott, Dak Prescott to be exact. His asking price will continue to rise if he continues to play like he did Sunday against the Giants. Prescott becoming the second player in Cowboys history with a perfect passer rating in a game. Oh, by the way, he's also the 4th QB with a perfect passer rating on 30 or more attempts in NFL history. And it helps to have a security blanket in tight end Jason Witten, who came out of retirement and the broadcast booth to rejoin the team when scoring his first touchdown in 633 days. A 4-yard grab from Prescott on NFL Now. Witten talked about how impressed he was with the QB1.
I mean, he looked like Joe Montana out there on Sunday. I mean, yeah, he's a different quarterback. He's got 52 teammates that would run through a wall for him, coaches, support staff that respect the heck out of him. And, I think he's doing all that. He's comfortable in this system. He and Kellen Moore know what they want to get to. He's got a lot of confidence in his weapons and his anticipation, the velocity of his throw. I mean, all that's just at a high level. I mean, he's in that tier. And the best thing about it, I think, as a veteran teammate of his and seeing him grow and come into this league and have success is he expects that of himself. He certainly expects it from his teammates. And, he's not reading his press clippings. He's moving on to the next week saying, I can play better and better. And the great thing to see when your quarterback has that type of approach.
Witten and Old Face returning to the same place. Different story here for this man, Joe McCoy, who is now with the Panthers after spending the first 9 seasons of his career with the Bucs. McCoy will see his former teammates on Thursday Night Football right here on NFL Network. And there's always the debate over whether a player on a new team should give away trade secrets, hello English, to his new team. McCoy says there is no debate, he is doing it.
I'm telling everything. I'm telling everything. I told y'all in my opening press conference I'm loyal to who I'm with. So, I already know what they're going to, try and do to me. But I know how everybody blocks. So I know what everybody over here does well. So I'm kind of helping put together matchup problems. So.
What are they going to try to do to you?
Just watch the game.
And you said you told us
Watch the game.
Friend of the show, Guys McCoy did say that when he does retire, he'll do so as a member of the Bucs, but he is more than willing to spill those trade secrets.
That's right.
I'm into that. That's your guy. Peter, he called you out once on the show.
He did, and I love the fact that he's going up against his former team. He's got a score to settle. They got rid of him, and they're like, Ndamukong Suh.